to all of you. Firstly, thanks for coming here, and thanks for the organizers, for accommodating me to talk about this. I am going to talk. I don't know if any of you have actually attended other conferences. You must have attended conferences worldwide. As far as water is concerned, one of the big things that is happening is measurement. A lot of measurements are happening, which is measuring water, so much happening in water. So hence, my talk is exactly not going to be about that. I'm going to step back and talk about something else. So I am now going to talk about, I think the earlier slide, where my introduction was there. It was about soil to soul and Viksit Bharat. I'm going to focus on two things today. It is about Viksit Bharat and soul. Can the soul be measured? Cannot be. Because everything, we can measure blood, we can measure plasma, we can measure a lot of things. But soul, no. Patak se gaya, then you're gone. The Atma is gone, right? That is the aspect. Now I'll talk about Viksit Bharat. To me, between soul and Viksit Bharat, there is one connecting word. The connecting word is wisdom. What is the foundation of Viksit Bharat? It's not India. We're talking about Bharat as a region, right? It was a land of wisdom, right? The difference between knowledge and wisdom. I request all of you to this is very important. There's a lot of knowledge today. Knowledge is actually put us all into a box, right? We are now, earlier we were a society, right? We were learning by doing, right? Now today, we are doing by learning. It's a huge change. So if you even look at this fair today, it is very knowledge driven, because all the questions that are being asked are asked from a box that we know. But most important to understand is so much we don't know. And how much we don't know is way too much, right? So when I come to the power of wisdom, right, I'll just come to this slide where I have very, very consciously chosen this title, The Power of 0.5 Angstroms. So the world of measurement, right? We're just measuring. And what are the buzzwords today? pH, TDS, alkaline. These are the things we were taught. And we have been busy measuring water for decades. We are measuring soil, we are measuring water. There are the Stanfords, the Harvards, the IIT, the IIMs, you name it. There are people, PhDs and peer reviews. I am not trying to decry any of this. But my only question is, with all this knowledge, what have we done? We are there at a point where even in the United Nations, people are talking about 30 to 40 years of life left for the soil. And this to me is horrendous, right? So much of study, so much of knowledge, so much of measurements. What did we miss? This is the point. And now with all the huge machineries that we are seeing everywhere, right? Just now, when I was talking to somebody at the stall, they were saying, this is very interesting, right? If people have not been at the stall, we are at E1025. 1025. We are at E1025. There are a series of devices. The first device, which is for drinking water, is this much, this big. They said so much is there, and I'm putting my name here at stake to say all the treatments that are happening. Last mile, please toss it to Jiva. And I tell you why. And see the difference for yourself, right? I'll come back there. I'm going to skip some slides and show you something. Before I. This is a slide I want you to focus on, right? I'm just saying, step back from the knowledge and let us just observe. I'm just saying observe without judgment, please. Because I'm still saying that we don't know anything. Because this was a revelation to me This was a farmer, and I'm guessing somewhere in North Karnataka, right? This is a soil, right? That was fed by a water that was at 5,000 TDS. Okay? And you can see how the minerals are deposited on the soil. And there are governments and there are people and there are so many of them, consultants, solving machinery and all of that. He put Jiva. Okay? And in about somewhere around 3 to 6 weeks time, this is a difference. I don't think we need to solve for anything more. If this slide is not going to communicate to you what we have missed about water, any number of slides will not show it. This to me, I am in one of the conferences I was talking, I said, here is the slide, this is what Jiva does, thank you so much, I thought I'll walk out. Because this, the first time I saw this, because one of the important things, he said, the smell of the soil, fresh smell of the soil, we call it petrichor, right? That came back. And how does that get created, petrichor? It is because of microorganisms, which implies that that is begun in the soil. And what happened after that? The soil is fertile, then the root lengths became longer. In the same soil, this is not two different pictures, the same soil, it's like a control study. Right? This is what it is. Now, this is one picture like this, I have tons of pictures. Now, I'm also going to digress from soil and show something else before talking something. How do I play this video? How do I? Fix that. I'm going to give you a background and I'll tell you why did I soil to soul and I'm
Through this device happened because of my dialysis condition, I used to get prickly heat sort of an effect on my back. For example, if someone is putting a tadka in the kitchen or if there is a temperature variation with the weather, I used to get prickly heat type of feeling, irritation, itching in my back and at times in other parts of the body also. Probably due to a side effect of dialysis. But with this device, I could feel that that problem went away almost completely. And there was some other things also which I felt my appetite had gone down to just 10-15% of what it was. I used to weigh more than 150 kilograms earlier. Now I'm around 85, 86 kilograms. So you can understand the problem I had with my appetite.
And I'm showing this. I don't know how many people can realize with the amount of kidney effects. This was news to me because this man had bought the device 3 years ago. And then he reached out to the company to buy a few more devices to give to his sister in the US, that kind of stuff. And my customer support was talking about, he voluntarily reached out to, the customer support reached out. This is the feedback he gave by himself. Imagine what we are talking about. Now I'm going to connect all of this. The important thing for us to understand what is the role of water. The role of water is to hydrate. Hydrate what? Hydrate the body, hydrate the plant, but ultimately hydrate the cell. Right? Now, what is the meaning of it? We use the word hydration very loosely. Right? I'm going to now go back and talk about the what is hydration? This is what is important to understand. Who has the wisdom? Do I have the wisdom? Does the plant have the wisdom? Or does the cell inside it have the wisdom? If you go back to creation, it all started from a single cell. And cell communicates on the basis of water. Right? Now, we all use the word hydration loosely and we are taking plastic bottles. This is lucky. Now, what happened was, I'm now going to talk about the Czech University of Life Sciences in Prague. Okay, so they did a study. This is the synopsis. In the study, the Czech University, it was the Czech University of Life Sciences which is affiliated the FAO in the United Nations. In fact, I was there, my head of research, Dr. Abhishek and Dr. Krishna. All of us were there in Prague. The professor, his eyes were wide. He said, I've not seen anything like this. Water, then he passed the water through Jiva. And this is very important, gentlemen and ladies, this. The water passed through Jiva. Does anybody know here, in one drop of water, how many molecules of H2 are there? Any guess? In one drop. 10 to the power of 26. It's unimaginable. Okay? Now I'll come to measurements. They measured the distance between two molecules of water at nanoscale using near infrared spectroscopy. And he said the molecules have come closer at nanoscale with passing through Jiva. Now, I asked him, so what? They came closer. Then he goes on to say, there is something called hydrogen, intermolecular hydrogen bonds, right? This bonding, right? I asked him, saying, so what if they are strong? He said, this is what causes hydration, right? The meaning of hydration, he said, when the bonds are stronger, they penetrate the cells better, and hydration is equal to cellular wetness. And when the cells are wet, then ability, because cell is the wisdom, a cell that can create you and a fruit and an animal, that has got all the wisdom to replicate and produce the organ. We think we are intelligent, but the cells are the wisdom. So those cells, he said, only when the bridges are strong, they hydrate, which is equal to wetness of the cell. When the cells are wet, naturally the toxins inside the cell get thrown out, and the cell is able to perform at its optimal efficiency. Hence you are seeing the outcome. And this is the outcome. We have seen this. So I will talk about, this is all about wastewater. I have, the whole world is struggling with ETP. This is the slide for ETP, where all the sludge that is being removed, blah, blah, blah. Even the sludge production was reduced, and this was validated by a brewer in the Czech Republic. He has used the device for 1.5 years. And of course, Czech people, some of you would know that they don't talk too easily. And he told me that my sludge output came down by 80%. Huge, 80% it came down. It's not 280%, by 80%. It is unbelievable, which means the availability was much better at an organic level, and hence this is what happened. So this, when there are objectives and regulations laid by the government, ETPs, STPs, all of you, if they are apartments or industries, all the effluent you treat and then you put it to soil. Because there is a mandate that only after treating you can put. So there is a report here. This is the report, probably you cannot read it, but what is important is this here, point number 1, right? Where they said treated water, when it was passed through the device, the plants flourished well, forget about all the minerals. Now my question, so in one of the scientist conference, I was telling a scientist, he said, look, my job is done, right? I don't know what is changing, but I don't think even we understand soil and water so much for to figure out what is changing. But I know something is changing. You go and figure it out. Because I don't know how long it will take to figure it out, but go and find out, but the change is for real. So now, if I come back, I will close by talking about, I think we have a time slot here. Viksit Bharat, our goal at Jiva, right, along with MWTS, is to take it to the globe. And the vision we have created for ourselves is by 2035, Jiva Water should become the default standard for water in the world. In what segments? Drinking water, let me call it domestic water, drinking, bathing and all of that. We are talking about ETP, STP. We are talking about agriculture, I'm talking about cattle, I'm talking about poultry, I'm talking about fisheries, and I'm talking about industry where scaling gets reduced and a lot of problems get solved because water naturally gets solved. And what happens inside the device, it aligns. So this is where I'm going to stop. This is all about understanding nature. If I have to do something good to you, if I don't understand, then I'll be thinking that I've given you the best thing. Probably it doesn't make any sense to you, right? So it is like probably going and giving a Mercedes Benz to Mukesh Ambani, and he probably needs something else. So this is the difference. So if you understand nature correctly, there is a science in nature. If there was a Nobel Prize in 2000 was given, the time called man of the year was the computer, or I don't know, it was 1990. I think today it has to be nature. Nature should get the Nobel Prize because all the quantum technology is there in nature. Now we have adapted that into the device. What does it do? Managing flow properties as it is in nature, and then there's something called a piezoelectric phenomenon, right? Any small action, you see, even as I'm breathing, walking, you are doing a small little stir in the space. That stir creates energy. That energy can be harnessed, but it has to be harnessed correctly. That is nature's property. That whole thing has been taken into Jiva, and hence we are seeing the outcomes of we have it all. So we had a philosophy. It has gone through 40 years of research by Dr. Krishna, who lives in the US. We have substantial outcomes in all spaces, and we have the science behind it, right? We can go on keeping on measuring, but here is what it is, because I don't know how many people here or what are their levels of influence. My thing is, every single country, including the great Bharat we are living in, our Prime Minister's Viksit Bharat initiative is, from agriculture point of view, more proper crop, farmer welfare. Solved by Jiva, and I can write it down and do it. It's a matter of taking it across the farmers, right? And we are beginning to do, because we have evidence, but beginning to research on cancer. And I do know, one of them here had said that a cancer wound started healing faster because the cell hydrated, the cell knows what to do. So this is the depth and breadth of what I am talking about as far as Jiva is concerned. And my closing statement, ladies and gentlemen, is Viksit Bharat cannot happen by just a Srini, or a MWTS or a Jaideep or anyone here, right? We all need to be collectively responsible. Reason why we have started this, and I would like to invite all of you to spread this across. Let us join hands and make the Viksit Bharat real. And I will assure you, with Jiva, understanding water correctly, soil correctly, we can do it. Thank you very much. When the molecules are coming closer to each other, the Czech University measured it, and they said the difference is 0.5 angstroms, right? And 1 angstrom is 1 billionth, of a meter or a millimeter. So whatever that is, but that is the size of what we are talking about. Hence, 0.5 angstrom change inside at an atomic level is huge. So I just wanted to use that as a time to sensitize. There are subatomic level things that change, which we need to be conscious of, which is it can't be seen. And that is the quantum world of today. That is why I use that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vitoba, for such an exciting presentation. We request Mr. Alanjendro to please felicitate Mr. Vitoba.